Hello, CJL campers. My name is Colleen, and I am so excited to be crafting with all of you here today. Today, we are going to be making wind chimes, which is super fun, very exciting. What's great is you'll be able to hang these outside on your porch, your balcony, outside your front door, in your room. If you're doing any fun outdoor camping this summer, you can definitely bring these with you and put them on your tent outside. So a lot of ways that you can use your wind chimes that we'll be making here today. But before we get started, I'm just going to go through the list of materials that we need in order to make our wind chimes. So the first thing that you're going to need are some tin cans. You can find these in a lot of different places, but more commonly you're going to want to grab some canned goods and empty these out, or if you have any leftover canned goods from maybe dinner the night before, any of the CJL meals that you've been making, you can just save those cans and use them. You're going to want to take all the paper off and all the stickiness off of the cans, so essentially they look like this. So you're going to want to have a nice clean tin can. I would recommend using 3. You can use as many as you'd like, but I think 3 is a really great number for the craft that we're doing here today. Along with tin cans, you're also going to want to get some paint. I've got some acrylic paint here that's used for multi-surfaces. I found my paint at Target. You can find it at any craft store, Amazon, anywhere like that. It's pretty common to find. And again, you can get any color you want. So you don't have to use these colors. If you have a favorite color that you want to use, or you want to make it multicolored or anything like that, you can definitely do that. I chose CJL colors for my CJL wind chimes today, but again, have fun with it and choose any colors you would like. So along with the paint, we're also going to need some yarn or some string. You're going to need a hammer, and then we're also going to need some nails along with a roll of tape and any washers as well, which I will show you how to use those later on in the video. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is take one of the tin cans once you've taken all the paper off, you've washed it and gotten any of the stickiness from the glue that was on there before off, and you're going to want to paint this. So again, you can paint it any color you want. You can put glitter on it. You can decorate it with beads. It's totally up to you what you want your wind chimes to look like. I would definitely recommend painting up top first and then going through and painting all the sides here. I can show you that I've already painted one of my cans, so you can kind of see you're going to want to get all the sides and then also the top of the can as well too. After you've painted each can, you're going to want to put it off to the side and let it dry. I would recommend going back to the tin can and maybe doing a second coat of paint, but that's totally up to you. So that's the first thing that you're going to want to do, so you can go ahead and grab your tin can and start painting. Before you do so, I do recommend, especially if you're like me and you're inside today, grabbing some paper bags, newspaper, magazine, anything like that to put over the surface that you're painting, so that way you don't get any paint on the counters, on the floor, wherever it is that you may be crafting today. So you can go ahead and get your paintbrush, put on some fun painting music, and start painting your tin cans. Now, as for painting, just know there is really no method to getting these painted. Again, like I said, I definitely recommend painting the top before you paint the side, so that way you don't get too much paint all over your hands. But you're just going to want to do soft strokes with your paintbrush. Again, if you want to let them dry after the first coat and then go back and repaint them again, if you want to add a little bit more color to them, or you just want to put that second coat on to make sure the paint stays, definitely feel free to do that. But again, there's no one way to paint these. You can do paint patterns, anything like that. But the important thing is you're just going to want to make sure you get inside all the creases from the ridges that are on the tin cans. You're just going to want to make sure you have all of those covered as you're painting them to help make the paint stick. All right, so once you have all of your tin cans painted, so you can see I've got all 3 of mine here with me. Once you have them painted, you're going to want to let them dry for a little bit. If you were like me and you did 2 coats of paint on here to make sure you got everything painted that you wanted, I definitely recommend letting them sit a little bit longer than if you used 1 paint, but it's totally up to you. Each paint is going to be different too with how quickly it dries, so just be mindful of that. I would recommend setting your timer for maybe 30, 40 minutes, making sure they fully dry. During that time, go make yourself a CJL special, have a quick snack, wash your hands, and then we'll come back and get everything finished up so we can hang our wind chimes. So once you have your cans painted, I definitely recommend putting them kind of on separate, if you have paper plates or napkins, paper towels, anything like that, just to kind of let them dry so you can actually put those over to the side as you keep painting. I've got 2 of mine done. I'm gonna go work on my 3rd one and get this painted as well. All right, so we should now have our dried painted tin cans in front of us. Mine did take about 30 minutes to dry. As I mentioned before, it'll really vary depending on the paint that you use, how many coats of paint that you put on. So just be mindful that if it didn't take 30 minutes, it may need a little bit longer, and that's perfectly fine. You can always put them outside on a table on your balcony or patio. You can use a hair dryer and kind of blow dry them as well if you just need a quick, get them nice and dry. But once you do that, we are going to pull out the hammer. Now, for any of our younger campers who are making wind chimes with us today, you may want to get an adult to help you with this, because we will be using this hammer, and we are actually going to take one of the nails that we have with us, and we are just going to hammer a small hole at the top of our wind chime. So it doesn't need to be large, but you'll see very gently, we're just going to want to hammer in. You can take it out, and then you should see a hole right at the top there, and you're going to want to do that with all 3 of your cans. So once you have the holes hammered through all of your tin cans, should look very similar to this. You are going to want to grab the string, grab your string, and you're going to want to cut it into really whatever length that you want. If you want to have your wind chimes staggered or right next to each other, whatever it is, you're just going to want to cut your string so it kind of matches how you want your wind chimes to look. So you're going to want to cut, of course, 3 pieces of string if you have 3 wind chimes. If you have 4, you're going to want to cut 4, so on and so forth. But for this craft, since we've got 3 tin cans, we're going to cut 3 pieces of string. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to put the string through the top of the tin can. It's challenging to go through the bottom of the tin can, so you're going to want to put your string and pull it through the top, just because it'll be a lot easier to do so. So we're going to do that. We're going to pull the string all the way through. Now, if you're like me and your holes that were hammered at the top of your tin can are not very round, it may be a little bit more challenging to get them all the way through. So you're just going to have to be a little bit patient with yourself. But once they are through enough, you'll actually be able to put your hand into the tin can and pull the rest through like so. Now, for any of you that are using the washers, so we do have washers that can get used, you are actually going to want to, at this point, tie the washer onto your rope. Again, this does not need to be a special knot. You can tie it any way that you would like, but you're just going to tie very simple knot onto your washer. If you want to double knot it to make sure it stays on there, definitely feel free to do that. That's what I'm going to do. But you can go ahead and tie up the washer onto the string. So essentially it'll look like this. And what you're going to want to do is just pull your string all the way through, and there we've got the first part of our wind chime, which is very exciting. So you're going to want to do that with the rest of the tin cans, and then we'll go from there. Now, if you are not using washers for your tin cans to pull the string through, like I said, that's perfectly fine. What you're going to want to do then is grab some tape. It can be any type of tape. Of course, the stronger the better. So if you have any masking tape or duct tape, anything like that, you can definitely use it. But you can see here today, I just have some Scotch tape. Again, you can get this Amazon, Target, Staples, grocery store, anywhere like that. So what you're going to want to do is, as you are putting your string through the top of your tin can, as you've been doing with your others, You're gonna wanna, again, put it all the way through, go all the way down. Make sure you get the string through. Again, I did not hammer my holes very well on top of here, so it's a little bit more challenging to get them in. But what you're gonna wanna do then is similar to the others, you'll pull it through, but instead you're gonna bring the string to the top of your can. You're gonna wanna grab the tape, and you are gonna wanna essentially just tape the string at the top of the can. So I'll show you, I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So for any of you that are not using washers, like I said, that's perfectly fine. If you don't have washers, you can definitely use tape. I've got Scotch tape here today, but of course, if you have duct tape, if you have packaging tape, if you have masking tape, any type of tape will work. But today I've got Scotch tape. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take a piece of the tape, and after you've brought the string all the way through your tin can, you're gonna wanna flip your can upside down so you've got the top of the can facing on your counter, floor, wherever you are. And you're essentially just gonna wanna take this tape and you're gonna wanna wrap it around. And essentially what we're trying to do is just create a barrier so when you're holding on to your wind chimes, the string does not go through the hole. So similar to what the washers were doing, on this side you can kind of see how the washers keep the string from passing through the top of the tin can. That's essentially what we're going to be doing with the tape here. So of course, if you have thicker tape or anything like that, you won't need as many layers. If you're like me and you're working with Scotch tape today, you're going to want to put a few layers all the way around it. Really make sure you've got it nice and thick. Very similar, kind of like this. And then you can always test and see if you need any more. So when you pull like this, I can see that it's being held on its own. So I don't need any more tape around the string. Of course, if the string were to come all the way up, I would definitely need a little bit more tape, but we can see here that I am all set to go. So before we move on to the final step, this is really the time that you can go back through your tin cans and add a little decorations if you want. So we can see that mine are just kind of plain green and white. We've got our CJL colors, but I actually want to add a little decoration to them. Of course, this is something that you can do when you're originally painting your cans. You're gonna wanna let them dry and then add the decorations. And what you would want to do then is let all of that dry before going on to the steps where you add the string to them. But for today's purposes, we're going to go ahead and add those decorations now. We've got everything else done. So after we add any additions to our tin cans that we want to make, all you have to do is just let it dry and then they'll be ready to hang up. So again, go ahead, put your painting music on, go ahead and add any glitter if you want to add any painting decorations, anything like that to your tin cans. This is the time to do it. So if you're like me and decided to add a few decorations to your wind chimes, you can see I spelled out CJL on mine. I've got the initials on here on mine and added a few polka dots just to add a little something extra to them. But if you did that, you're going to want to just let them sit for about really 5 or 10 minutes, especially if you didn't use a lot of paint. It shouldn't take that long to dry. Again, you can put them outside real quickly, walk away. If you're in need of another CJL special, you can definitely go and make one of those, come back, and then we'll get back to the final stage of putting our wind chimes together. So once you've added any last minute additional decorations onto your tin cans, whether it was glitter, whether it was some additional paint, anything like that, and they have dried, we are ready to hang them up, which is super exciting. So really all that you need to do, so we've got all of our strings already attached through here. You can kind of see, and then we'll grab our third one here. And all that you really need to do is you're going to kind of put them in whatever order that you want them to be in, at whatever height and everything like that. So you can kind of see I have mine staggered out a little bit. I'm actually going to pull this one up just a little bit more. But whatever it is that it looks like, you can see this is how mine are. And you're essentially just going to want to tie a nice big knot at the top of your wind chimes. So you can see just like that. Again, this does not need to be any special knot. Of course, if you're looking to practice your knot tying skills for next summer, you can get a little crazy with that. But for me, I just tied a little knot at the top like so. And now my wind chimes are ready to hang up. You can put these anywhere. You can add hooks to them if you want to hang them up outside or anything like that. But what's nice is you can move these around either to your front yard, to your backyard, to your room, anywhere that you want to put these wind chimes. But I hope y'all had a great time making wind chimes today. I know I had a blast doing this activity. I can't wait to see the creations that y'all make. Feel free to tag Camp Juliette Low on social media. Use all the hashtags, hashtag CJL Chimes. I can't wait to see what y'all do. But in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your summer, and I look forward to seeing all of you on the mountain next year.